For independent reading, students should be reading every single weekday, okay, at a minimum of 30 minutes. Okay, this gives them time to practice reading fluently. They don't have to read out loud, but they just need to get into that habit of finding texts that they can enjoy reading. These can be physical texts, they can be fiction, nonfiction, they can be books, they can be magazines, they can be online texts, they can be graphic novels, magazines, articles, newspapers. Anything is fair game. Okay, I don't have a preference over one type or another. What's important to me is that they're finding texts they want to read. And when I start putting limitations on what they can read, that's when we start to find a lot of fake readers. Okay, and I'm trying to avoid the fake reader. If you look at the agenda here during the course of the week, each day it'll say read for 30 minutes and record in reading log. If they read more, that is fantastic. Okay. But I want that to be their option. I want them to feel the want, the desire to read for 30 minutes, not the punishment to read for 30 minutes. Don't ever like ground them to read because that really, the punitive of reading is not a good thing. Okay, so I want them to read more than 30 minutes, but again, I want that to be their decision. It is the district's expectation, though, that they are reading for 30 minutes each day. When they're not scheduled for a live lesson, okay, for example, if your student has or your child has language arts on Mondays and Wednesdays, okay, then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, to get that extra practice with language arts skills, they have a reflection on that day, which means that after they're done with their independent reading, they take out their notebook, and in addition to putting in their minutes, they're going to add in a reflection that is based on their assigned strategy. Okay, and I'll show you what that means here once I open up the assignment. So all of these minutes each day go into their notebook. Now, for most kids, it is a physical paper notebook. There are some of them that are still using the class notebook, which is on their computer, and that's fine. Either way, though, they are sharing either a screenshot of that notebook or a picture of that notebook with me on Fridays here through Canvas. So if we scroll down to Friday, notice here it says assignment. Hi, whenever it says assignment there, they know they're supposed to click on that blue link next to it, and that's where they submit that assignment that actually has the submitted form. Okay, so now we look through here. It'll have their directions, but even more important than that, here is where the reminders are of their strategies. Okay, so I have messaged every single kid and shared with them which strategy they're using. The strategy is based on their interim assessment score. Okay, specifically their score on the theme standard, which is RL 7.2. And so throughout the week, when they're not scheduled for a live lesson, they respond using their text, whatever they're reading, and this strategy in their notebook. Now, I also include each week, I do my own reading log, just so that way they can see how these strategies look with an actual text. And so Group A is working on the difference between plot and theme right now. And so I put an example of, okay, here's a plot detail, and here's an idea, a theme detail. Group B is looking at actions and how actions can lead to the theme. And so I've provided an example from the text for that. And then group C is looking at emotions and how emotions can lead to the theme. With each of these examples, there is a several sentence response. What I'm not looking for is a 5-6 word sentence, Okay, 'cause that's not delving deep enough into that text. I really want them to start analyzing. Okay, here in the 7th grade, their brains are doing some amazing things in terms of developmental ability. Okay, and so we go from just kind of starting to really think about theme as an idea to making all these great connections between the conflict, between characterization, and how those things contribute to the theme. Okay, and how we learn from the characters. Okay, how we're able to take what's happening, in this imaginary world and apply it to our lives and society. Okay, it's a great time. I love 7th grade for that reason. Hi, because we're really starting to see how this fictional sense can apply to the real world. Hi, and so that's what they do throughout the week. Okay, and then they submit just like this. I took a picture of my notebook, and they'll submit it here into Canvas, and then I use that as a tool for me to see how they're kind of growing as a reader. Hi, so those are the expectations there in between independent reading and then the documentation of that independent reading. Okay. This is because normally in class, what I would do is, throughout the class period, I would have them bring me their notebook. Well, since I can't have them bring me their notebook, they just have to send me that picture digitally of the notebook.